Today, we'll have Jacki's recent Disney World trip that's coming up on this episode 512 of WDW Prep to Go. Hello and welcome to WDW Prep to Go, where we talk strategy and ideas and have lots and lots of tips for people planning their Disney trips. I'm your host, Shannon Albert from WDWPrepSchool.com. Thank you for being here. Have you noticed they've started saying Disney trips in the intro and not Disney World trips? That's because we obviously talk about more than just Disney World, even if Disney World is a bulk of it. Like to expand out into the other Disney places too. So I'm just going to say Disney trips to keep it accurate. Today is another trip report. This time is with Jacki, who traveled for a week in April with her husband. Lots of interesting elements to this, including some volunteer opportunities, a runDisney events, all kinds of stuff. So I'll have that for you in just a minute. If you would like to be a podcast guest like Jacki, there is only one way to do that, and that is to submit a voicemail through the Speak Pipe line that is in the show notes of every episode. If I don't mention this in the intro of every episode, I start getting emails and DMs and comments about it. So let me just restart it again. You need to go to speakpipe.com/WDW Prep to Go. If you don't have show notes for some reason, that is the URL that you can go to. Leave a voicemail with the details of your trip. And then if it works out with our schedule, somebody on my team will reach out to you to get the pre-trip and the post-trip booked so that we can chat. That is the only way to do it. Back in the day, like many years ago, you used to accept by email, but we have to hear your voice because if you cannot project while you are being recorded, it won't be good for a podcast. So we do need to hear your voice on the voicemail. So please feel free to leave a message there. We're looking for some new and interesting types of trips, always looking for different kinds of travel so that we can learn from that. If we have the same thing over and over again, it wouldn't be much use for people planning their trips. So feel free to do that. And as always, a reminder to follow on social media. If you're not already, what are you doing? I'm always mentioning this. I just really like the fact that social media makes it more of a conversation. Whereas with this format, I feel like I'm talking at you. The other thing I want to mention is if you want the podcast episodes without ads, there are two ways to do that. One is to become a patron because ad-free versions of every episode are posted on Patreon. The other is to have a YouTube Premium subscription. This is actually how I listen to all my podcasts now, is I have YouTube Premium and I will listen to the episodes. Even if I'm not watching the video, I will just listen to them because in YouTube Premium, you can run YouTube in the background and listen to it just like an audio podcast. But it is a way to do it without ads as well. So those are your two options. All right, without any further ado, here are my conversations with Jacki. Welcome to the podcast, Jacki.
Hi, Shannon. Thanks for having me.
We are talking on Saturday, April 4th, and you just told me you're going to Disney World.
Yes, we are headed a week from today off to Disney World for our spring break.
Okay, so that's April 11th?
Yeah, Saturday, April 11th.
Through what?
The 18th, so Saturday to Saturday.
Okay. And you already said this is your spring break. So lucky you, it's after the main spring break crowds.
Yes, we're very lucky that we live in New England and we seem to have this later break. I know a lot of people are normally March, but we're usually April. So that's really nice.
The weeks adjacent to Easter are always the very busiest. And as I was just looking before we started chatting, the worst guest behavior, unfortunately. So you're going to hopefully get to escape that as well. Who is going with you?
It's just me and my husband.
Okay. And how does the spring break factor in? Are you teachers?
I am a teacher and he is a school social worker.
Okay.
Work time off for both of us.
Okay. Both work for schools. Got it. And have you been this time of year before?
Yes, we have been very fortunate in the last few years to be able to kind of sneak away this week for the last few years. So just another one. Last year was a really short trip. This year we're making it a nice long one.
Okay. And you said you're in New England. So are you flying or driving from there?
We're flying out of Bradley, Hartford.
Okay. Connecticut?
Yes.
All right. And you're flying on Saturday?
Yes, we leave at our flight out is at 9:37 a.m. and it should be getting there around 12:42. Yeah. We had a much later flight, like those same times, but PM. And with everything going on, we pivoted last week and paid the little extra to shift that 12-hour window forward.
Okay. Just to give yourself a little bit more cushion, I guess.
Yes. Yes.
All right. And then after you land, you are, I assume, going to your hotel.
Yes. We are planning to take an Uber or Lyft, whichever is more affordable, to Pop Century.
Okay. And have you stayed there before?
We have. We stayed there in 2021 with our first post-COVID trip, and it has landed a special place in our heart now because of that. So,
Best bang for the buck. I know everything's so expensive right now, and it just feels like this is one way to do it. Even that's, it's not like it's super cheap or anything, but it just gives you great access to a couple of the parks and direct buses to the other ones. I don't know. I just love Pop Century so much.
Yeah.
But
too, so that's like one of the biggest perks there.
I've had people DM me, do you stay anywhere besides Pop? And then the next DM will be like, you're too bougie. Why are you always at the deluxe resorts? It's like, no, they all have things going for them.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so you're going to have quite a bit of time left in your day. What's your plan after you get to the hotel?
So one of our plans is to decorate our window. That's like another fun thing about staying at Pop for a longer time. So we'll put up some decorations and then we'll hit the pool probably and start soaking up as much sun and warmth as we can. And then after that, dinner. We're very fortunate that we've been able to go so frequently in the last few years that we are very flexible with a lot of our plans. So dinner right now, we have an Ale and Compass at 7:15. We also have a Steakhouse 71 at 8:35, but also we're considering Hoop-Dee-Doo at 8:30. So we're very fluid. When we get there, what we feel like, we'll kind of go with that.
Okay. Now, I want to talk about decorating the window because I love looking at the decorated windows, but I've never done it. Outside of a Disney cruise, I've never decorated like a door or window. So do you have like a theme? How do you do it?
The last time we did it was June. We had like just gotten out of school and we went. So it was like a out for the summer teacher social workout for the summer. This time we're doing the Run Disney race, which we'll talk more later about. But so it's kind of Run Disney themed this time.
Okay. Very nice. I'm going to note that. We can talk more about it later if you want. Oh, and hopefully there'll be pictures included so we can see it. Yes, but now it makes me want to, when I'm staying at a hotel that has this, like the values or the moderates, I'm like, I want to bring decorations. That's fun.
Yeah, that's fun.
Okay. So that takes us through your arrival day, right?
For the most part, we'll also get some groceries delivered from either Amazon or Instacart. We've used both in the past and just get the kind of basics there for breakfast and stuff.
Okay. Then what's your plan on Sunday, April 12th?
Also, laid back, kind of low key day, really easing into it. We have plans for breakfast at Kona Cafe. And again, really flexible. We have a 9:30 right now or a 10:30 booked, kind of feeling like, how late we want to sleep in and how slow we want our roll to be in the morning. And then from there, we're tentatively maybe going to do Blizzard Beach, maybe some Disney Springs. I would love to get Gideon's that day, so I have cookies to eat all week. And then we do have dinner at Summer House on the Lake at 4:15.
Have you been there before?
Yeah, we went last trip and loved it. So looking forward to going.
So now it's going to be a staple of your trips, maybe?
Yes. The
Summer
funny thing
House.
is, this trip was going to be, let's try new restaurants. And as we booked, we kind of booked just favorites again. But
you've accumulated a list maybe, so it can fill up your days.
Yeah.
Okay. And I often ask about transportation between resorts. Should I just assume that you're going to use rideshare? Like to
Get to Kona, yeah, we'll probably use rideshare for those dining reservations.
Okay. You have been before. It's the first timers or the newer guys that I always ask, like, how are you going to get there? Because I don't want them to get stuck wondering.
Yeah. My first trip ever, I went and we did not know how to get anywhere and literally commandeered a bus. And the driver was so kind. He drove us right to the Polynesian from All Stars, but he definitely did not have to do that. And I felt so bad after when I realized what had actually transpired.
Okay, but the phrase commandeered a bus is killing me. Just imagining you being like, I don't know how to get there. Take me.
Pretty much. Yeah, that's how it went down.
Okay, so now you understand why I ask all the time because
Yeah,
you gotta know how you're getting there.
for sure.
Okay, let's talk about Monday then. Monday, April 13th.
Yeah. Monday, we are starting our day at Give Kids the World Village. We became familiar through your podcast back in 2020 and really fell in love with the idea of the village. So this will be our third time volunteering there. When we have a longer trip, we try and carve out time to head over there. So we are booked right now for a shift from 7:30 to 10:30 to help serve breakfast, which will be really fun.
Okay, that is amazing. I've only volunteered the one time, which it would have been a lot longer than 2020. It might have been 2015. It's been a long time. So now I need to add it to my list of things to do again. But the interview that you heard in 2020 was amazing with that woman that runs it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
incredible.
really pulled at our heart. And we were like, we have to do this. We have to. So we try and make the time for it when we can.
Yeah, and you sign up on for that ahead of time and like pick your time slot.
Yep. They have us in the system as volunteers. We went through the volunteer orientation, which is all online. And now we can just sign in and see when times are available, slots and shifts that fit our schedule. And they have like two. We like to volunteer at the same place.
Okay, great. Okay, so your morning is that, and then what?
After that, we will take a Lyft or Uber over to Whispering Canyon at Wilderness Lodge for brunch around 11:45. And this will be a first for us. We've never done Wilderness Lodge anything. So it'll be very cool to have a chance to check out that resort too.
That's one way to see the resorts. Just schedule time to eat there.
Yep. After
Okay.
that, we might try one of the mini golf courses. Again, one of those things that we've never done before that we have some free time, we might as well. I also have pool or nap on my list here because that night we are doing the after hours at Magic Kingdom.
Okay, have you done that before?
We have not. We have done a Christmas party, but we've never done the after hours.
Okay. I will be excited to hear what you think.
Yeah, we're excited and hopefully going to use that time mostly to prioritize rides.
Mm-hmm.
Short line.
This is your like Magic Kingdom time.
We will be going to Magic Kingdom again later in the week, but this is our first.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think it's they don't sell out as much as like the parties and stuff do, and I'm like, y'all are sleeping on this because they don't require lighting lanes. It's not hot. Like,
Yeah,
they have
included. That's such a huge perk too.
snacks. You get to see fireworks twice. Like, what's not to love?
I've already told Robert too. I'm like, we'll go with empty backpacks and we'll stock up on bottles of water for the week. Like, utilize those perks that we've paid for. So
exactly, and the fact that they're bottled makes it easier. Imagine trying to smuggle out fountain drinks. Okay, so that's a fun day. Okay, April 14th, Tuesday.
we are doing a full day at Epcot this day. So we are planning to get there at rope drop. We're not usually the people who are right on the rope, but we're right there, right at the beginning. And we'll be coming in on the Skyliner. So right now our plan is to try and hit Remy's first in that early entry time. After that, I have that I'd love to go to Mexico for the quick service lunch because that's always my favorite. Catch me with nachos and a margarita, and I'm at my true happiest. My husband has many photos of me in that exact moment because that is true bliss. So that's on my plans.
You should come visit me. This is my life every day.
Yes, I know. I'm so jealous all the time when I hear, we walk down to the beach after dinner. I'm like, take me with you.
Yeah, that's the life. I don't even normally like margaritas, but when they're good, they're good.
Yes, and now you're becoming, Mexican, so it part of it, it's part of the culture.
Yep, surrounded by it. Okay, what's after lunch?
After that, we do have a Geo 82 reservation at 2:10, so stop in for another beverage or two.
Have you been there?
We have not.
Okay.
We have not. So that's something also new to give a shot. And then back to our old tried and true favorites dinner at Via Napoli at 6:30. There are
See,
days that my husband says, "What would you like for dinner?" And the answer is via Napoli. So when we're there, we have to take advantage of it.
yeah, I know that you said you're going back to like a lot of favorites, but there's a few new things in here for you.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
We also were able to book our lightning lanes this morning. So we did get lightning lane for this day. So we will do Frozen, Soarin', and Living with the Land is what we have booked so far. And we also purchased Guardian for this day.
Okay. And you had said at the beginning of this day, full Epcot day. Does that mean that you stay through fireworks?
Yes. Yes. I am not a fan of the current Epcot fireworks. I was a Harmonious girl through and through. It kills me that that doesn't exist anymore. So we'll use that for some more, shopping or something at the end of the night, but we'll be there till the end.
Okay. So I wrote watching fireworks, but maybe I should say staying through fireworks to be more accurate. Okay. Then let's talk about the next day, which is Wednesday, April 15th.
Fantastic. On the 15th, we have an Ohana breakfast reservation at 11:50. This will be a down day, like a more relaxed resort kind of day. So we will give ourselves time to sleep in a little and then plan to do the pool and hit up the quick service at Pop Century for a late lunch or early dinner because we are going to after hours at Epcot this night.
Okay, this is so interesting. Okay, all right. So, Epcot, listen, I have said it many times. If I have an annual pass, which makes it a little bit more complicated, but if I was just getting park tickets, I would seriously substitute the after hours events. But here you are. We've got Jackie doing it.
Yeah.
Okay, so Epcot after hours rides are a focus there.
Yes. Yep.
Um,
Once again, I'm hoping to do Guardians as many times as humanly possible. And that,
I think that they should disable the pre-shows
I love that idea.
during after hours. I think they should disable them
Right. For sure. I'm
because
the,
then
type,
you can go through it faster.
I'm the type of person who, when test track used to have like the stop and make your car, I would just walk through. People
Mhm.
didn't know you could, but you could just go through to the doors and people would look at me like I did something wrong. And I was like, no, I just don't have to make a car. It's okay. Like,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yep. Okay. So Epcot after hours focus on rides, especially Guardians.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Anything else to talk about on that day?
No, I think that'll be more of a low key day. Kind of, we had been going hard the couple days before that, so we'll give ourselves a little reprieve that day.
Okay. Then April 16th, Thursday.
That is a day that will start with breakfast at Cape May Cafe at 9 a.m. And then from the beach club, we are going to take the bus over to the Run Disney Expo because we are doing the 5K. I have been fortunate enough to do the two 10Ks, a wine and dine and a springtime surprise in the past. But my husband has never, as he's not really a runner. So this time we were able to get into the 5K and not have to take extra time off from work to make that happen with bib pickup and everything. So we're doing it. We'll head over to the expo and get our bibs and get all that set up that morning.
You are going to get your bibs, but are you also thinking you might do any shopping?
Oh, yeah. There's always shopping involved. We definitely will be looking for the ornament for sure. We have a bunch of those from the previous race weekends I've done. So that'll be like our top priority.
Okay. All right. What's after the expo then?
After that, again, another tentative, maybe Blizzard Beach or the pool. We've done the water park before. We really love Typhoon Lagoon. We're not super married to Blizzard Beach, but I do know sometimes they give you a perk with your bib from Run Disney at the Springtime Surprise to go to the water park. So it's something that's tentatively on our plans if we're really looking for some sun and water time that we might pop over there.
Okay, so you've mentioned the water parks a couple times. So as of right now, you don't have tickets to those, but you might get them.
Yes. Yep. And if we feel like it's something that we're going to go more than once, like instead of sticking at the pool at the resort, we might look into the annual pass for the water park because it's only like $89 and a day pass, I think, is like 60 something. So something we're considering.
Okay. All right. So expo and then some kind of pool time either at your hotel or the water park.
Yes. And then we have dinner. Right now we have 2 different reservations, either Steakhouse 71 at 6:40. So that'll kind of depend on what we do at the beginning of the week if we've already been. Or we did get Wailulu Bar and Grill at 8:20. I'm a little sad about this one because that's really where my heart wants to go, but also I know what time the alarm will be set for Friday morning. So yeah.
Well, I'm gonna cross my fingers that you will find an earlier spot.
Yeah, we do keep looking and keep trying to modify. So hopefully that will be possible.
That would be nice. All right. So then Friday, April 17th is the 5K?
Yep. That will be the springtime surprise 5K. And then, we just keep running right from there. We're planning to go right to Magic Kingdom, probably step back at the resort and change and freshen up, but right to Magic Kingdom for as early as possible because we do have some lightning lanes already booked and Crystal Palace at 9:30. So
Okay. What time will your alarm be set on this day for Run Disney?
the alarm will probably be set for 2:30 or so, but that's if I actually fall asleep.
Oh, you think you might stay up?
I'm very nervous around these kinds of things, missing the alarm and everything, so I don't sleep well before. So I always joke I got a full 5 minutes. I feel great. Let's go.
Listen, that was one of my complaints about Genie Plus is I never slept because I was like, I have to wake up. I have to wake up. I have to buy it. I have to buy it.
Yeah.
And so I just never slept for years while Genie Plus was around. So I can't imagine waking up this early for a run, but I'm excited for you. But,
Yep.
okay. And let's talk about the outfits. Did you plan outfits?
So we are definitely going to do some themed. The 5K is Zootopia themed. So I'll have a Nick and Judy shirt and Robert will have the sloth shirt for him. We're not big Zootopia fans, so it was a little harder to do this one. And I love when everyone gets fully decked out, but I'm someone who, if I'm to run, I have to be in pretty standard to what I train in clothes. So, yeah.
It's understandable. Okay, so we left off at Crystal Palace breakfast. What else do you have?
Yeah. We also scored a Beacon Barrel reservation, 3:30.
Have you been there?
We have no.
Okay. See, look at you trying new things.
Yeah. And then we also have dinner at Tony's Town Square Theater at 7:30. We are hoping to do the gym with the Starlight Parade. We love Tony's and sitting out there on a porch. So it's really
nice. For people that haven't been or who are newer, the gym is based on a previous guest who during the early opening of the park, I think 2020, 2021, would go there and watch a parade from Tony's Town Square. And then it just became the gym.
Yes.
Okay. Dinner at Tony's, hoping to see the Starlight Parade.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And that's about it. We do have lightning lanes already booked for Space Mountain, Buzz Lightyear. That was our priority this morning when booking because it's brand new again. And then Little Mermaid, because that's my favorite. It's The Little Mermaid. And I hope that if we just keep riding it a lot, they'll realize it's popular and then they'll put her down for refurb and give her a fresh space soon.
You're like, I will single-handedly make this busy.
I'm trying to. Yeah. So they realize that they've done my girl wrong and they need to fix her.
If we all band together and we can call this the Jacki.
Yeah. Please ride the Little Mermaid journey under the sea and we can get her fixed.
Have you seen the show at Hollywood Studios?
I have not. I'm really bummed that I haven't yet because the only time that I saw the old show, it actually had a technical difficulty in the middle and it ended before it even, finished. So I have definitely not seen it ever in the old version or the new version.
Okay. Well, something to look forward to.
Yeah.
All right. Are we ready for Saturday, April 18th is your departure day?
Yeah, that's the day of sadness. We will hopefully get a later checkout if possible because we do have breakfast at Topolino's at 11. So we'll hopefully see if they can let us keep our stuff in our room. But if not, we'll drop that off at Bell Services and take the Skyliner over to the Riviera for some brunch. And then our flight home is at 4:50 p.m. and getting back here around 7:47. So the day
Okay.
is sadness.
Yes, it is. I'm looking through your plans. Do you have 2 park day tickets and 2 after hours tickets? Is that how it breaks down?
Yes. Yep, we
Okay.
decided to do that because Epcot is my favorite park and Magic Kingdom is Robert's favorite park. And right now, we just didn't feel that Hollywood Studios or Animal Kingdom would really be worth it. So we said, let's just double down and really hit those 2 hard.
Okay. So it's just interesting. This is what I love about doing the trip reports. It's just a different way to do it. And I'm excited. So it sounds like you have created this just right for you guys.
So we like a good mix of going until our feet are blistered and we're drop dead exhausted to the point you're like, is it the Disney bed that's really amazing? Or is it that I'm just so tired? But also mixing in some good, relaxing downtime too.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Well, this all sounds fantastic. Good luck at your Run Disney race and just for your trip in general. We'll talk to you in a couple
Yeah.
weeks.
Sounds good.
Welcome back from your trip, Jackie.
Thanks for having me.
We are talking on Monday, April 27th. So you've been back for about a week. How was your trip?
It was awesome. It was perfect weather and it was just everything we needed. So it was great.
Okay, awesome. Let's start talking through it because you said that on Saturday, April 11th, you were flying out and heading to Pop Century.
Yes. So our day got started early around 6:25 that morning. We left home, but we were super pleased that it was smooth sailing. Our travel was so seamless. It was really, really nice. We dropped off our car and we were through security at 6:59. So it was just easy breezy. And we live so close to the airport. We're very fortunate. So we boarded and then, smooth flight there as well. It was great. So we even got to see Epcot from the airplane, which was the first time I've ever had that happen. And that was really cool.
Mm-hmm. That is nice. I find it hard to identify everything from the air.
Yeah.
I guess Epcot makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah. I saw Spaceship Earth and I was like, oh my gosh,
Mhm.
okay, I know what that is.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So you landed. You had said that you expected to land like just before 1 o'clock or so. So I guess everything was on time.
Yep. 12:55, we were getting off the plane and had our bags and were in a lift and at the resort by 1:55. So again, really, really easy.
Mm-hmm.
From there, we went to Bell Services and dropped off our bags and decided we were just going to hang around the resort and kind of see. We were close to that 3 o'clock check-in time, so maybe our room would become available. We had lunch and did a little shopping around and changed our clothes because it was not Florida weather when we left in the morning, but it was Florida weather when we got there. And it still wasn't available, our room. So we decided around 4 o'clock to do a little Skyliner hopping. We figured, why not just go check out the Riviera? And literally, we got on the Skyliner and our room was assigned at 4:02.
That's how it happens. You manifested it. You said, let's leave. And they said, your room's ready.
Yep, always. But we checked out Riviera. We liked that little shop there in the lobby. So we kind of just poked around. And then we decided to take a bus to Magic Kingdom so we could then do a little monorail hopping. So from there, we took the monorail to the Contemporary and did some shopping there. And we didn't even realize we like to do pin trading, but we're not huge, follow the latest drops or anything. But apparently there was a new drop when we were there. And that night at the Contemporary, there was cast members standing along with all the new pins on their pouches. So they were getting bombarded and we didn't even really know what we walked into. And we did a little trading with them and then later realized oh, we just got the new ones and the good ones. So that was kind of a fun coincidence to have happened.
Mm-hmm.
From there, we went to Grand Floridian, same kind of thing, poked around, did a little shopping, and then we went over to the Poly because we had had dinner plans for Ale and Compass or Steakhouse 71. And then almost immediately upon getting there, I was like, let's just go to Kona instead. Let's kind of start rearranging our plans as we like to do right off the bat. So we went over to the Poly and we had some time because we had a 7:35 reservation. So we tried to see if we could get into Trader Sam's. And it was a little strange because I could make a reservation for one person with like on the walk-up wait list for like 10 minutes from now. And Robert could make one for one person, but we couldn't make one for two people. So I was like,
I wonder if that's for bar seating.
Yeah, we weren't quite sure. So I was like, you make yours and I'll make mine and we'll go and we'll see. Like, we'll see if they can let us in. And if not, like, the worst they say is no. And that's okay. We understand. So we did go and they said, we can have one person stand and one person sit. And we were like, okay.
Standing room reservations.
Yeah. Yep. So we were like, all right, not a problem. And so they joined us at one, like the long table kind of in the middle. And we stood and sat. And then people shuffled out quickly and Robert was able to get a seat. So it worked out well. We had a little drink and chatted with the people sitting there at the bar. And then we went to check in for our Kona reservation. And this took a long time, or what I would consider a long time. We checked in at like 7:30, 5 minutes early, and we didn't get called till like 8:01. So that was a bummer because at that point we're tired. It's been a long day. We're kind of hungry, but we stuck it out and got to have some pot stickers and wings and sushi, and it was really good. So it was worth the wait. But at that point, I was like, I'm so tired.
Long travel day.
Yeah. And then we were done around like 8:55-ish, and we were able to catch the end of the electrical water pageant, which I did not go to Disney as a kid. I've only gone as an adult, but like it just hits me right in the feels. I love that water pageant, and there's no reason to explain it.
You don't have to explain it to this group.
That is true. They get it. And then we stayed at the beach for Happily Ever After. And it actually kind of got a little chilly because it wasn't super humid this trip. Like nights were a little cooler. So I ran back into the Poly and bought a blanket and ran back out to the beach so we could be like cozy and watch. And that show just hits me in the feels. And I was ugly crying. And it was just everything I needed in that moment. And after that, we called the lift back to the resort around 10 p.m. and we were back at Pop around 10:30. At that point, our luggage had already gone to our room, but we had Amazon Fresh delivered that morning. So we went to Bell Services and grabbed our groceries and headed up to the room for the night.
Now, your room, had you made requests for this room?
Yes, we had. We really like staying in building 6 in the 70s section because it is like pretty close to the Skyliner but still like a standard room. And something I think got a little lost in translation because we were in building 7, which is the 80s by the computer pool. But still, it was great. It was not super far from the path to the Skyliner, just like one building away. So it still worked out really well.
Okay. All right. So that's your first day, right?
Yes. Hit the ground running.
You hit the ground running. And the next day was Sunday, April 12th, and you had slated this as a laid back day.
Yes. Yep. So we got up and took our time. We decorated our window and got that all set. And then we left via the Skyliner. We had originally had Kona breakfast reservations this day. But again, like I said, we love to play with those and change them. And we had decided to do Topolino's that morning instead. We were surprised there was one available. So we shifted to that. So we went to the Riviera and hung out and went to Topolino's for 11:05.
That is shocking. Maybe people just dropped it. So that's like maybe that's a good takeaway for people listening is like, don't give up.
Yeah, we always do that, play with the reservations and have been fortunate that, like you said, someone drops something and you can kind of snag it right away. We checked in around like 10:55. We were a little early, but they took us in right away and we were done around 12:15. So that was great. We did a little more pin trading back at the lobby of the Riviera and then ended up deciding that we were going to do a DVC tour just because the incentive of the gift card was appealing. We didn't really have anything else scheduled for the day. We were kind of like kicking around. So we decided, hey, why not go find out more? It is something that's definitely interested us, but we are already timeshare owners outside of Disney. So we kind of like knew what to expect anyway.
Mm-hmm. And you
But
did that at Riviera? You signed up at Riviera?
yeah, yep. And they
Mm.
took us right there. They had someone available like almost immediately. So it was really cool to see the rooms there because we've never stayed there and they were really beautiful. But TVC is probably not in our future just yet.
Mm-hmm. But that you did get your gift cards.
We did get our gift cards, which came in handy later in the trip for sure.
Mm-hmm.
From there, we decided to take the bus to Disney Springs. We went to Salt and Straw, which I absolutely love because I'm lactose intolerant and finding good vegan ice cream anywhere is nearly impossible. And they always have the best and like good flavors. So always a must do for us.
Such interesting flavors.
Yes, they had some really, really unique ones this time.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, they're always good, but it's like I didn't imagine that mashed potato flavored ice cream would be good.
Right. They make it work. They're so clever.
Mm-hmm.
From there, we went to Gideon's. Had a line, but it moved really quick. So we, like 2:25, got in line and we were done by 2:44. So super quick. Got our cookies stocked up for the week, even though we like ration them, like eat a quarter at a time.
Mm-hmm. I've learned the hard way that if you get them at the end of the trip and take home, it increases the weight of your luggage because each one is like half a pound.
Yes.
So it's like I didn't really have an extra 3 pounds I could add to my luggage.
Yeah, for sure. From there, we decided to move booking back. Oh, we were supposed to go to Summer House on the Lake that night.
Mm-hmm.
And we had like a 4:30. And then we realized that they're also on open table. So we looked on there and there was a lot more availability. So we had pushed it out later to like a 6:30 or something. But then when we were kind of wrapping up at Disney Springs, we had done some shopping and some PhotoPass photos. We were like, maybe that 4:30 like wouldn't have been so bad anyway. So we went and just saw if checked to see if they had bar seating available, which they did. So we canceled our reservation and just ate at the bar and had the deviled eggs. They're like mashed potato deviled eggs. They're so amazing. And the poke nachos and a pizza. So we were good. Had some delicious food there.
Yum.
Yes. And then from there, we decided to hop on the bus back to Pop. We got back around 6:00 or so. And then just kind of decided to like hang out. And we sat by the pool for a little bit in the sun. And then they were doing the like roasting marshmallows. So we went and did that, which we'd never done before. And then went back to the room for a few. And I'm a night owl. So to be back in the room at like 7:30, I was like, okay, what are we going to do next? So we decided to go back out and went over to Art of Animation to just poke around there and hang out a little bit too. Did some more pin trading. There was a cast member who also had a good set of new pins and he like ended up getting a line. And I was like, Mike, you're so popular. And he's like, I don't think I'm popular. I think it's what I have in my pouch. But that was really cool. And he was really nice. And what are you looking for? And he was digging in his pouch to like, show everybody all the ones he had. So that was really cool to see. And then around 8:49, we did decide to go back to the room because we had a super early morning the next day.
You did. The next day was Monday, April 13th, and you were starting your day over at Give Kids the World.
Yes. So we left the room around 6:45, took a lift over to Give Kids, and got there around 7:25 for our 7:30 shift. So that was perfect. We worked in the cafe and Robert manned the fruit station and he made parfaits and I bussed tables with a group of people. And that was so cool because there were people who were like regulars. Like I volunteer every Monday and they were just so kind and to see the families and the kids so happy. And they had a robot roaming the dining room that was like trays of fruit on it. And the kids were all about like getting a banana from the fruit robot. It was just so much fun. So really worthwhile to take that little time out of our day to do that.
Mm-hmm. And that
From
was a 3-hour shift, I think.
Yep, it was 7:30 to 10:30, and it went so fast. By the time I looked at my watch, it was like time to go, and that was crazy to me that it went so fast.
Mm-hmm.
From there, we took a lift to Wilderness Lodge and arrived around 11:25, and we had a Whispering Canyon brunch reservation at 11:45. We checked in at like 11:30 and they seated us by like 11:34. So we were early, but they were definitely able to accommodate. We had the Heritage Skillet, which was delicious. And when I had been bussing tables that morning, there were people who had had biscuits and gravy, which is not something we get in Connecticut ever. And I was like, oh, that looks so good. So I was able to have that at Whispering Canyon and it hit the spot. So I was happy that I could make that happen so almost instantaneously.
Mm-hmm. That sounds good. And did you guys do any of the like prank kind of activities there?
No, our server was kind of tame with us, but there was a table nearby that definitely had 45 ketchups and, a lot of straws and a giant, like, vat of Diet Coke. It was crazy. So it was fun to
Mm-hmm.
watch other people get teased and not be the victim.
Mm-hmm. I think I always think that they should give you flags where you can say, I want to participate or I'll just watch.
Yes. Yep. He luckily picked up on our vibes, so that was good.
Good.
From there, we had decided that we wanted to go back to Disney Springs. We have heard like the hack that if you get a balloon and you let the balloon like wave around in your room, the air conditioning will stay on.
Mm-hmm.
So we're like, okay, let's go get that because it was like a little warm in our room, not terrible. So we went over to Disney Springs on the bus and there were no balloons being sold at 1:00 at Disney Springs on a Monday. And
What
I
if
was
it's only in the evenings?
that we had asked a cast member and they said like, yeah, maybe in the evenings. And then we had been there the day before and there was balloons. So I was wondering if maybe it's just the weekends, but
Mm.
we were a little disappointed, but it's all right. It was okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I went back to to Pop around 1:35. The bus driver on this, I noted, was a little uncomfortable. He like made some odd comments to us and it was just like a strange mix of people where I was like, I cannot wait for this bus ride to be over. So,
Mm-hmm.
some of the spring break crowds were still hanging out.
I'm going to make a note to ask you about that on the after chat.
Yeah. But we got back to Pop and decided we would go to the pool. So we went to the pool and hung at the computer pool. It was right outside of our building and it's kind of like the quieter of the pools. So that was really nice. This was our first of a few pool naps. We were both
Mm-hmm.
like tired and just zonked out and woke up and I was like, oh gosh, I hope I like didn't snore or anything and like embarrass myself because everyone who had been sitting around us was suddenly missing. And I was like, oh gosh.
Mm-hmm.
It was great. Just laying in the sun felt so nice. From there, we decided to just do some quick serve and we went back to the room around 5:40-ish because we were going to get ready for our after hours event that night.
Mm-hmm. Your first time in the park this trip.
Yes. Around like 6:15, we left the room for Magic Kingdom and we were on a bus at 6:25. And I wrote mega bus. It was one of those like big ones that twists in the middle. The only one we saw on this trip, but those are always cool to me because I'm like, there's a lot of people on this bus.
Mm-hmm. I see him most often going to Magic Kingdom and most often at the Value Resort. So I'm surprised you hadn't seen it. It's just so efficient to have so many people.
Yeah. We were also surprised to see it at that time of night because of the event. Like most people we thought would not be going to Magic Kingdom unless they were part of the party. So it was just interesting. We got there around 6:40 and joined the line for the 7 p.m. entry. And they started letting people in around like 6:54, and we were in around 7:01. They didn't seem super efficient at getting people through, though, and getting the wristbands on, which kind of seemed surprising to us because they do this all the time. So it was just a little clunky, but like we were at the front of the pack, so we understood and we waited and got our bracelets and we were good to go. So I also feel like maybe they're like more recently brought back the after hours events. So it could just be like working out some bugs as they get used to it some more.
I'm wondering if they did it on purpose because they wanted to get you scanned at the tap styles, but not actually in until 7.
That could be.
Y-
I didn't think
You
of
know what I
that.
mean?
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. Because they don't want everybody backed up at the tap styles too much to like interfere with the traffic flow, but they also aren't allowed to let you in the park maybe until 7.
Yeah. And Disney's masterful at crowd control. So I'm sure there was a
Mhm.
method to the madness.
Mm-hmm.
From there, we went to the People Mover, and it was posted 5 minutes. So we hopped on and then went from there to the Little Mermaid, also posted 5 minutes. So even though the regular day guests were still there, lines were pretty short, which was cool to see. After that, we went and got a Mickey pretzel and a water. We were like really trying to hold out until like the snacks started with the party, but I also get hangry and I was like, I can't wait anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But we have friends that work for ESPN, which is based here in Connecticut. So we had actually had some coupons from them for some snacks. So that was kind of nice because it still was like free and we didn't have to pay. So that was cool. From there, we went to Small World, which was also posted 5 minutes, but everything was just a walk on. And then we did Pirates. And from there, this was around like 8:40. We did Pirates and we got off around 8:50. And I was thinking, okay, we're in like a kind of a good spot where Starlight has already started, but at the front of the park, if we like run over to that corner of Adventureland by Tiana's, we might be able to catch it. And that's exactly what happened. We hadn't planned to prioritize Starlight that night because it was the after hours event and we knew we had another Magic Kingdom day, but we were able to catch it right at that spot. So that was really fun to see them as they like exited to backstage.
Mm-hmm. It's the perfect use of after hours ticket is that you're doing things that you can only do during the regular park hours because it's not available during the after hours. So you're like on People Mover and you're seeing the parade. So
Yeah.
it's good. Worked out well for you, I guess.
Yeah, it definitely worked out really well. From there, we went to the right side of the carousel, like next to PhilharMagic, to set up for Happily Ever After. It also was something we weren't like super trying to prioritize, but if we were like in the right place at the right time, we did that. And it was cool to see it from that different vantage point. I've sat back there before, but Robert hasn't. So it was like cool to see it, for him experience it back there.
Mm-hmm. It's loud.
Yeah. And the Pirates part especially is so intense.
Mm-hmm.
So then after that, we were starting to get like into the party time or just about. So we went to Haunted Mansion, posted 13 minutes, walk on. And then from there, when we got off, the party had officially started. So we went and beelined to get some snacks over there by like Hall of Presidents in that area. So we got our popcorn and our drinks and stuffed some in our bags, and we were on our way. From there, we went to Jungle Cruise, one of our favorites, and the skipper was awesome as always. There was a lot of like first timers on it, which was funny because it was an after hours event. So to have first timers there seemed like really unusual, but they all kind of enjoyed it too. So another one of those experiences, seeing it through someone else's eyes for the first time.
I was actually going to ask you, where is it full of people that were playing along because they weren't first timers? Because a lot of first timers don't know about the after hours events, but you had first timers.
Yeah. So we had definitely noticed that. We're like, okay. All right. From there, we got some more drinks and then headed over to Tomorrowland and went on Buzz Lightyear, which was posted 10 minutes. And we were on in like 4. So that was good. Then we went to Space Mountain, posted 5 minutes, and truly it was just the walk to get in there to ride. And we had said that was one we would want to ride again. It's definitely a favorite, but that walk is like so long. It takes so long to get up and in there and then the walk out. It's got to be like half a mile of queue on either end. So we were like, maybe we'll come back to Space Mountain later, but we never did. From
It
there, we
is, but
went,
those big queues always give me anxiety because I'm like, sometimes they're full of people. And that is even worse.
yes. Yep. When you're in that tunnel, it's a little
Mhm.
claustrophobic.
Exactly.
So from there, we went to Astro Orbiter, which is not one we ride often. And we didn't actually even know if it was open during the event. There was no line. And we just kind of walked up and we're like, hey, are you guys open? And they're like, yeah, of course. Come on up. So we went up and rode, and we were the only ones on the ride. And then when the cast member stopped the ride, he timing wise, like didn't stop it where our bags were. So he like felt bad about that apparently. He's like, I'm so sorry. Like you had to walk around and get your bag. And I was like, no big deal. So at that point, enchantment fireworks were going off. And he's like, why don't you guys just stay up here and watch the end of the fireworks to make up for it? And we were like, okay, like we weren't upset in the first place, but like that's a cool vantage point. So that was really cool to get to do and stay up there and see the fireworks from there.
That is nice. I've never seen it from there,
Yeah,
but it's up nice and high.
it was. Yeah. So you kind of got like this cool, like aerial view. You're almost at like the same level as the fireworks. So that was cool. And Tinkerbell flew again. I said, oh, that girl, she's busy tonight. She had to fly twice.
Hmm.
But that's always my favorite part of any fireworks show. So I was happy to see her twice.
Hmm.
From there, we went over to Winnie the Pooh. It was posted 16 minutes, which I thought was unusual.
Very unusual.
I thought, isn't it normally like increments of 5? But okay. And it was right a walk on. So, and then from there, we went to PhilharMagic to rest our feet a little bit because it was only like 11:50 at this point, and we knew we had until like 1 o'clock. So it was like, all right, we got to take a quick break, and then we can be back at it. From there, we got some ice cream and the fruit bars, and then we went to the Barnstormer and rode that. Again, like something that we wouldn't do during the park day normally. Like we wouldn't take our time to do that as two adults, but like always fun to do when there's no line,
But
especially.
right. I mean, the beauty is the lack of lines, lack of lighting lanes. Do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's one of the reasons we love Magic Kingdom After Hours. It's fun to see you doing so much.
Yes. And we were like really impressed by like how much we were really able to get through, which was fun. From there, we got some more beverages, more Diet Cokes, more waters, and went back to the People Mover. It's just a favorite of ours. So we could ride that over and over and be the most content. And then we went back to Buzz Lightyear for another ride on that. And then at this point, it was like 12:45-ish. So really kind of the end of the night. We got a couple more drinks, and then we started to head out of the park and realized we didn't get an event guide when we walked in, which was our own fault. But Casey's Corner was open. So we were like, oh, okay, we can get like another like more hearty snack at the very end. So we grabbed some corn dog nuggets, kind of hung out and watched people file out, and then left the park at 1:12, went right to the bus, and we're back at Pop at 1:35.
Late night.
Yes.
Late night. And I'm curious to see how your next day went because Tuesday, April 14th, you had said full Epcot day, including maybe rope draw.
Yes. So around 1:35, when we got back to Pop, we said, we'll get there as soon as we can. But rope drop may not be in our future. So we left the room the next morning for Epcot at 9:03. So not too far off of schedule. Got on the Skyliner and we're over at the International Gateway at 9:30. So that was nice and quick. We rented a large locker in the International Gateway area. And we like to do this like on our full park days. And I always joke and call it my closet
I just
Mhm.
never know, like, if we're in the park all day and we know we're not heading back, like, if my feet start to hurt, I want another pair of shoes and I want my Spirit jersey for later when it's going to be cold. So we dropped off all the stuff in our closet
Mhm.
that we knew we didn't want to drag around all day but might need later. So always like to be prepared.
Yeah, and the nice thing is it's right there by the Skyliner, so you just grab it on the way out.
Yep. Yeah. So from there, we went to Soarin'. We had a lightning lane for 9:10 to 10:10, and we got there at 9:51 and tapped in and got like the middle top row. So, primo seating on that. From there, we also had a lightning lane for Living with the Land. So got off Soarin' right to Living with the Land, 10:10 to 11:10, and we tapped in around 10:30 on that. And we already started to feel like really good. We're like, okay, like we're really moving through the lightning lanes. And even though that wasn't necessarily the intention for this day to, get a bunch of rides, knowing we had the after hours later in the week, but we felt good about checking stuff off our list.
Mhm.
From there, we went over to Guardians because we had booked an individual lightning lane for 11:10 to 12:10. And we tapped in around 11:04. And we were on the ride at 11:31. And we got Iran, which was fine. I have had everything but Conga, and Conga is the only one I want. And I was disappointed to have Iran, but it's a good song. It's still good.
Mhm.
Anything on that ride is fine. From there, we went to Brunch Cot. We had actually tried to go to Brunch Cot before Guardians, but we didn't realize that the booths didn't open till 11:30 on the weekdays. So we were kind of like skunked and we're like, oh, okay, we'll go ride and come back. And there was definitely people rope dropping Brunch Cot, and it would have been us if we hadn't gone to Guardians.
Mhm.
But we got the avocado toast and the Fruit Loop shake and the French toast, and it was great. I love their avocado toast so much, and it's dairy free. So that's always a nice, like, one I don't have to worry about.
Good.
Yeah. From there, we went over to Frozen. We had a lightning lane for 12:10 to 1:10, and we tapped in at like 12:15. It was a posted 55-minute standby, but we were on and off by 12:31. So super quick, moved right through. While we were in line, we ordered some more Instacart supplies. I actually ended up like my allergies really kicked up when we got there because nothing was in bloom in Connecticut when we left and everything is full bloom in Florida. So we were like, okay, we got to get some cough drops and, a couple things to tide us over and some water and stuff. So we ordered that in line. And then we went and shopped in Norway after, which was fun.
Plus, Flower and Garden Festival is going on at Epcot, so it's like, here's all the flowers.
Yes, yes. And then the pool nap the day before, I don't think had helped because then you're just breathing it all in while you're sleeping. So
Mhm.
from there, we went to the Mexico Pavilion, had to get my nachos and my margarita. And it was definitely getting warm at this point. So we went inside and ate inside, which I always love that they have that available until like 2 or 3 o'clock. So we got to get some air and relax and hang out before we headed back up to the front of the park. We did some more shopping and like pin trading along the way at the little shops, like the port of entry shops, I think. I forget what they're called, but it's those 2 little shops there.
Mm.
And that's when we really realized that the new like pin drops had happened because I guess they had line like that morning that wrapped around the park. I was like, oh, apparently that's a thing.
The pin trading culture has really taken off.
Yes. We also saw it in the breezeway between
Oh, yes.
Creations and Connections. And it was so intense. It looked so cool. And Robert's like, we should go trade. And I was too scared. I was like, no, what if they like say no or that we have bad pins? I was like very afraid of rejection or like doing it wrong. So I just observed from afar and enjoyed their enjoyment.
They had to create new rules around this at Disneyland, and I'm wondering if they're going to have to do something with Disney World because a lot of people will just kind of set up, like especially in the breezeway by Spaceship Earth.
Interesting. Yeah. It's just so interesting how I wasn't a big Disney goer before COVID, but then like after, like pin trading was a thing, but I feel like now it's really a thing. So it's interesting how it's making this comeback, I guess.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure social media is fueling it, but it's just interesting how things take off.
True. Yeah. From there, we went to Spaceship Earth. And at this point, I had my margarita and I was feeling really relaxed. And Spaceship Earth is so beautiful and calming. So I like did a little eye close situation. And then when I woke up on Spaceship Earth, we had apparently been stuck for quite some time.
Wow.
I don't remember any of the ride. Fortunately, I have enjoyed it before, but I looked at Robert and I said, how long have we been stuck here? And he said, about 15 minutes.
Wow.
I said, oh, he goes, yeah, I thought we were going to get evac'd off of this. And I thought, oh, well, you would have had to wake me up to do that. And that would have been embarrassing. So thankfully I woke myself.
Extended your nap a little bit.
Yeah. But we had gotten on, 146 was when we got on and we didn't get off until like 2:20. So.
Did you have a reservation?
We did. We had our GO82 reservation, which was why we had kind of migrated back up that way anyway. And I was like, oh gosh. So it was for 2:10. And I was like, hopefully like it'll be okay. I know there's a little bit of a buffer. And we got there at the 2:20 and they took us right in right away. So that was nice. We were like, we're sorry, we're stuck on Spaceship Earth. And they said it was fine. We had a funny moment while we were in GO82. It was so cool. We loved, we only got a cocktail each, but loved it. The environment was so nice to be able to look out the windows and people watch. But we both had a moment where we thought this in our heads and then like didn't want to say it out loud. And when we said it, we kind of chuckled. We both thought it. We were sitting there and I thought, I wonder if you can see Spaceship Earth out the window from here. And then I was like, well, you're inside Spaceship Earth, so nope, you can't see it. And Robert's like, oh my God, I was thinking the same thing too. And I was like, okay, so not just me.
Well, but having said that, wouldn't it be nice to have a lounge that had a view of Spaceship Earth?
It would be, yes, it would. We'll give them that idea. They can borrow that one from us.
Send that one in.
Yep. We left around 3:30 and went to Starbucks and got a little beverage over there and did some more shopping. We love the Creation Shop. When it was Mouse Gear, I swear it was the best shop on property, and I still am a pretty firm believer that it's a really good shop. So poked around in there and did some shopping. And then we had kind of finished up what we wanted to at the front of the park, so we would mosey on back and really kind of start the World Showcase. So we went back to Canada, and we did Canada far and wide for the first time ever. And that was really cool because we had just gone to Montreal over in between Christmas and New Year's. So there was stuff we had seen, and we were like, oh, look at that. And just to hear Catherine O'Hara again and Eugene Levy was just really touched my heart too. So that was a lot of fun. From there, we went back to the locker to change our shoes because my feet were killing me and we had given ourselves the option. And then from there, we moseyed on over to Regal Eagle to get a little snack. We had dinner reservations later, but we were kind of hungry, so went over there. And then from there, kind of felt like we didn't want to get involved in something too crazy, like getting in a line or something, because we did have that Via Napoli coming up. So we ended up just going over to the Garden Rocks concert. And it was a cover band called Southbound. And they did Southern rock country covers, which I know is not everybody's cup of tea, but they were really good. And it was kind of fun. And so we just kind of sat in the sun and listened to music and relaxed there for a little bit. Then we went and did some more shopping in Germany and Italy, poking around there. And then we went and checked into Via Napoli around 6:20 for our 6:30 reservation. They sat us over in the side glass end room area. And we got the typical, what we always order, the big house salad and the margarita pizza, and enjoyed that a lot. But our waiter, I don't think, enjoyed us as much as we enjoyed it, because being Northerners, we move at a speed. a quick pace. So we got into the restaurant. I was like, all right, I'm going to run to the bathroom. You order the drinks. And when I come back, like, I'll order the food. So when he came over with the drinks, when I was back at the table, he's like, okay, I'll give you time with the menu. And I was like, well, I think we're ready to order. And he's like, oh, so he orders the drinks and you order the food? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, okay. But then like, we ate quick and we finished quick and we were ready for the check. And I was like, oh, I felt bad because like, that's not probably standard in Italian culture and it's not standard in the South. So like the fact that we were like rushing, but we weren't rushing, it just felt like rushing for them. I think.
You would think they would like it because they can turn the tables around.
Right. We're not going to waste your time. We know what we want to eat, but he was very thrown off by that. So I felt bad. I was like, sorry. But we enjoyed it regardless. And we were back out around 7:30, went shopping in Japan. And from there, went over to Remy's. We had a lightning lane, so we tapped in around 8:07 and we were off by 8:21. First time experiencing it without the 3D glasses and enjoyed it so much more, for sure.
Did you get motion sick with the 3D glasses on, or you just like it better?
Just liked it better. I felt like with the glasses, even like looking at your peripherals, it was just never like seamless. So I liked it that you could just look through your eyes and see everything more clearly. From there, we decided to go over to La Halle to get some desserts. And we waited in line. It was like 8:25, but at 8:32, the line like had not moved and it was packed in there. And I was like, never mind. Like, we have Gideon's back in the room. Like, we're fine. We don't really need to do this. So hopped out of line, went over and decided we were probably pretty done for the day. We were pretty tired and had gone around a lot. So we went and cleaned out our locker and hopped back on the Skyliner to get back to the resort around 9. And then from there, we went and picked up our Instacart order from Bell Services, did some more pin trading in the shop at Pop, and then decided our sweet tooth was still talking to us. So we decided, we'll get dessert here at Pop. So I got the Mickey cupcake, like the cookies and cream cupcake, and Robert got the big like oatmeal cream pie that they have now and enjoyed those. And we were sitting there waiting for our mobile order to come. And Robert said, that girl over there looks really familiar. And I remembered a friend of ours was coming in for the runDisney race at the end of the week. And it was her. And I was like, well, I know why she looks familiar. So we went and chatted with her and her boyfriend for a while and kind of caught up with them. And then went back to the room around 9:50 to call it a night.
I thought you were going to say it was Heather, but I just remember she stayed at an all-star resort that week.
I was looking for her all week and I never saw her. So I was so bummed. But yeah, I was hoping that too. That's who he had seen.
Yep, she was there that week too. Okay, so the next day was Wednesday, April 15th, and you were going to do some non-park time to start the day at least.
Yes. Yep. So we were supposed to have Ohana breakfast this day, but again, we had changed our minds and changed it to Kona because we had canceled that one earlier in the week. So around 10 or so, we left the room and we were walking up and the Magic Kingdom bus had pulled away. We were going to take the bus to Magic Kingdom and kind of monorail over there, and said 20 minutes to the next bus. So we said, let's just call it Lyft. So we did that, got over to the Poly and did some more pin trading. And then we did some shopping once we got there as well and checked in for our reservation at 10:38. And while we were waiting for our reservation to be called, we ended up deciding to use our DVC tour gift cards to buy Blizzard Beach tickets. We figured we would do that in the afternoon that day. So that was really nice because we bought the tickets that have like the blackout dates, knowing that we weren't in the blackout window. So they were like $60-something each. And then with the $100 of gift cards, it was only like $20 or $30 out of pocket for us to go to the water park. So that felt worth it for us. we were seated around like 10:45 and done at 11:30. And it was very interesting as we were kind of wrapping up our meal. A bunch of blue name tags come all at once walking into the restaurant. So now I'm just curious. I'm like watching like a TV show, like, what are they doing? What are they looking at? And I'm wondering if Kona will be up for refurb soon because they were seeing like broken tiles in the walkway and taking pictures of that and looking at furniture and carpeting. And I thought that was very interesting to like see it in action. So,
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Yep. And then we also saw Molly and Alan from the Mammoth Club. If anyone watches them on YouTube, we were sitting there and they go walking out. And I was like, oh, Molly and Alan were having Kona for breakfast too. So that was kind of funny because I had seen they were staying at the Poly and you never know who you're going to run into. So that was kind of cool. From there, we decided to head to Blizzard Beach. We had kind of come prepared, had talked that this might be the plan. So we took the bus to Animal Kingdom and then to Blizzard Beach. And the bus stops were under construction. So at the Poly. So the pickup was like right in front of the main lobby. And then it went over to the Grand Floridian as well, which I didn't realize. We've never stayed deluxe, but that they share buses like that sometimes. I was kind of surprised.
They do a lot.
Yeah.
I don't think they should.
I agree. I was like, for the amount you pay to stay here, like, why are you sharing a bus? But that was just me. Or maybe not.
I think it's one of the things we've always liked about Pop is that they have direct buses and don't share. They don't have internal bus stops. So like once you're on, you're on. But I think like numbers wise, Pop is so much bigger than the deluxes. So Disney thinks numbers wise, we might as well have these deluxe resorts share. But I just think if I'm paying that much, I don't want to share.
I agree. So from there, we transferred to Blizzard Beach, like I said. And at Animal Kingdom, we actually had to wait for the drivers to swap. So we were kind of waiting a little bit. And when the new driver got on the bus, he had a very elaborate setup that he needed to establish. So he set up a pin board. He had his bag covered with pins. So like took an extra minute or two for him to get adjusted. And I wrote, he was a very spirited driver. He had a lot of tips and information. And Robert felt he was very helpful and informative. He was reminding people to wear sunscreen and, just really he was feeling good that day and having a good day. So it was kind of contagious.
I feel like the pins are really factoring into your trip. And I didn't know that the bus drivers would participate.
I didn't either, but he had this like thing that he hung up and it had all the pins on it. And I was like, is that safe for the bus driver to be pin trading? Obviously, I don't think he'd do it while he was moving, but I was like, okay. We arrived at Blizzard Beach around 12:15. We got a locker and changed. And then we kind of like unplugged, left our phones in the lockers, and really just enjoyed ourselves doing nothing other than laying in the chairs and doing the lazy river round and around and around. To the point I said, hey, do you want to like go and do a slide or something else? And Robert was like, nope. So we had set ourselves up in the tubes that have like the arms on them. And then I like to get like the little kiddie tube, the white solid tubes, and I like put my feet up on it. And we just went around and around, got out and had some lunch, and then back in the lazy river, around and around. And that was our whole day.
It's your money. You can do what you want with it. That sounds so relaxing.
Yeah, it was perfect. Around 4:45, the park was closing. Around 4, they started like announcing you've got an hour left. And it was like mass exodus. Everyone was leaving. And I was like, not that I want to make cast members stay, but I was like a lingerer. We just, I finished reading my book and we kind of just hung out and made our way out at 4:45 and did a little shopping. Called the Lyft to head back to our resort. And while we were doing that, we ended up making mini golf reservations for the next day. Well, so that was great. We decided to do Fantasia Gardens after the expo the next day. We got picked up by our Lyft and dropped off around 5:40. And it was interesting. The Lyft drivers usually have to wait at the gate to like get through to say like, I'm dropping off a guest And the line was so long and not moving. And we had already had like a bad timing on the light leaving Blizzard Beach. And our driver was like frustrated. So we said, go in the other lane where you like would drive your regular car. And we scanned our band and got in. And we were like, oh, that's kind of a hack, like to avoid the line. So that was helpful.
Mm-hmm.
As we walked through the lobby, a little more pin trading as we went back to the room to freshen up and had a little snack, trying to be more prepared for the food situation at after hours this time, after the learning at Magic Kingdom the hard way.
You want some pre after hours snacks.
Yes. Yep. 6:22, we left the room for the Skyliner, and we got to Epcot around 6:52. And at 6:54, like we walked right up. They let us tap in, get our wristband, and we were right in. And there was no line or anything at the International Gateway, where at Magic Kingdom, they had kind of like held us in a corral and kind of like fed people through. It was just right up and on in from that point of Epcot. So that was kind of nice.
Mm-hmm.
As we started walking towards the front, we ordered Connections Eatery and got our mobile order when we got up there and ate some dinner. We like those like spicy chicken sandwiches they have there. And we were like, it's a good amount of protein that will be satisfied until snacks later. Did some shopping in Creations, picked up the festival book, and did a little plotting of like booths we hadn't done the day before when we were there that we wanted to kind of get to. So went to Swirled Showcase, and I had the peach Dole Whip, another one of those dairy-free options that I love. And it tasted like those gummy peach rings, that candy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't a super natural peach flavor, but it was really good.
A faux peach flavor.
Yes. Yep. And then we went over to Florida Fresh, and Robert got a strawberry shortcake. And from there, we decided that we had the photo pass this trip and really had not done much with it. So I said, let's go to the front and get some pictures. It was starting to get dark and Spaceship Earth was lit up and it was so pretty. So we were watching the lights on Spaceship Earth and really enjoying that. From there, we decided to go over to Nemo to get a few more of those rides done before after hours officially started. So it was a standby 5 walk on. And then we are not Figment fans. I know that's a hot take for some people. I've only ever ridden it once after another runDisney event where it was like, I need to sit somewhere and this ride will let me sit for a few minutes. So I told Robert he needed to ride it as well, just so he could really live it for the first time too. So we did Figment, which was a 5-minute standby as well, but walk on. From there, we headed over towards Guardians, and after hours did not officially start until 9:30, but they let us in at 9:17 to the line, which was really nice. And they were already checking wristbands, and we got into the first pre-show room around 9:31 with like a really small group of people. Maybe it was like a third of the full room. So that was different. And I was like, oh, okay, is this like how it's going to go for the rest of the evening? But then there was a long wait when we got to the next room because they hadn't cleared out the day guests yet. And we had not factored that in.
That was going to be my next question, but I'm curious because it seems like they had a break between the day guests and the after hours guests. So I thought, oh, when you get in line, you're just going to be automatically with the day guests, but they linger for a long time.
Yeah. So we did not get into the ride and on until 9:56. So that was, different. We were like, okay, we kind of wasted a little time on that, but that was okay. We rode and got September, and we're off at 10:01.
So you still haven't gotten, what was it, Conga?
Conga. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Still no Conga. From there, Test Track had been down actually when we got to the park, and I was really hoping it would come back up because, again, I had ridden the new version, but Robert had not had a chance to do that yet, and it did. It came back up, so we went and got in line for that. It was posted 20 minutes and we got in line at 10:06 and we're off the ride at 10:19. So definitely not the full 20 minutes at all. We did some pin trading in the Test Track store and then went and got our first set of snacks for this after hours party. And then we decided it was just going to be Guardians until we got queasy. Which I did start to feel. I'm not a big motion sickness person, but towards the end, I was like, all right, it's probably enough. So 10:28, we got on Guardians, posted 25. We were off at 10:46, and we had I Ran again. And we went right back on at 10:47 and walked right into the pre-show one. It was already in progress, but they kind of let us just get right in, which was nice that they didn't kind of stop us and make us wait. We were off at 11:08 and we had September again. I was like, today's the day. I'm going to ride it so many times. I'm finally going to get conga.
But if my math is right, each one is taking you about 20 minutes during after hours.
Yep. From there, we decided we would pause on Guardians for a few minutes and we would go over to Frozen. And they were letting you walk through the lightning lane line, which we had said we wished they did as well. Like to make you walk through the standby line was a lot, especially Test Track 2. It wound back and forth. And I'm like, nobody else is in the park. Why can't we just use this lightning lane line? But Frozen, they definitely did. And it was interesting because back in the World Showcase for the Frozen, it was a lot more laid back on the after hours kind of rules. When we got up to the ride, they're like, take whatever row you want, like wherever you want to sit. And we were like, okay, all right. So we sat in the back. And as we got off, we went back past one of the snack carts right there in Norway too. And they just had all the snacks out. And they're like, take whatever you want. Where at the other ones, like, they handed you one popcorn or one soda or whatever. And they were like, help yourself. I was like, oh, okay. I like this Norwegian hospitality.
Yeah, Norway after hours.
Yeah, that was the spot to be. So we enjoyed our snacks and drinks and then headed back up to Guardians at 11:50. Still posted 25. We hopped on and got Disco Inferno. 12:10, we were off, and 12:13, back in line. We were boarding at 12:26 and we got Disco Inferno and off at 12:01. So at that point, 12:30 was the end of after hours. And we knew that last one we were kind of pushing it, right? We were like, we could maybe get one more. So we did, but still no conga. So that made 6 rides total for the trip, including the one during the day, and 3 songs duplicated.
We're going to be having these same conversations with Rock and Roller Coaster when it reopens.
Yes.
Because they have their own song list. And people are going to be like, I've never gotten that song.
Yep. We can say, though, we have gotten one song that a lot of people haven't. We were there the one year they did Run Run Rocket for Christmas. So I'm like, okay, I guess if I can't have conga, I'll have that notch in my belt instead.
Yeah, people revolted about that too.
I know, they did not like that. So from there, we made our slow way out to the bus stop. And at 12:57, a combined bus for Pop and Art of Animation came. And it stopped at Pop first, which was nice. So at 1:09, we were dropped off and back to the room at 1:18.
And for people listening, that is because it was an after hours event. They don't normally share buses.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, long day. Got a lot of rides, especially one particular ride.
Yeah.
Okay. The next day was Thursday, April 16th, and it was a non-park day. So how did that one go?
So this was our Run Disney Expo day, and it went really well. We woke up and kind of were lounging around the room and remembered that it was the first day of the Run Disney Expo, which we're not normally there for. So joined the virtual queue for the merch. And we got group 46. So I was really impressed by that. And it said at the time an approximately 130-minute wait. but we knew the expo hadn't even opened yet. So that could be true or it could take longer. But we weren't too worried because we had some breakfast reservations. So we were taking it slow anyway. We started walking over at 8:35 to the Skyliner and did some more pin trading with the Skyliner cast member. There was one young man working at the Skyliner and we saw him twice and he had really good pins. So every time we saw him, I'm like, oh, we have to go trade with him again. We got to the International Gateway at 9:09 and walked over to Beach Club because we were going to Cape May. And as we were walking over, when we got close enough, we were able to check in for our table and we're seated at 9:12. We were done around 10:20 and we did some shopping at Beach Club. And then at 10:30 went over to the bus stop for the Run Disney Expo bus. We waited a long time there and it seemed like there had been people also who had been waiting a long time. So at 10:48, we decided we were going to call a Lyft. We're like, you know what? We'll just take a Lyft over there. No big deal. And as the Lyft was called, the bus showed up. And we're like, cancel.
Yep. That's how you've learned. That's how you manifest it.
Yes. Yep.
You make other plans and then it's like, okay, here.
For sure. So at 10:55, the bus pulled away and then it went to Boardwalk to pick up some more people. But it was interesting because there were like no buses. Like you would think there'd be like another bus kind of almost pulling up as you drove away and there was no sight. So that was slow going that day, working out the kinks. Got to ESPN at 11:26, and then we went and got in the merch queue because at that point, then our group had been called, which was nice, and they had lined people up inside. So it was really organized once we got there. And there was a family in line who was giving out bows, which was really cool. They had like handmade all these bows for all the different races and stuff. And so that was nice. People were trading like bracelets and scrunchies. And I am not a Swiftie. I know. But it was fun to like have the Swiftie experience on something that I do get behind, Run Disney. So that was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Got our ornament we were looking for, got the magnet, and having never been at the expo early enough, it was not even on my radar to try and get the metal pin because those are usually sold out by the time we get there. And Robert was like, we might be here early enough. Like we should go look. And we were, and we got one for the first time ever. And I was like, I didn't even think of that. So it was nice that he kind of reminded me of that. And we found out later from our friend we had run into earlier who was doing the 10K, by the time she got there the next day, all the 5K and all the 10K merch was gone and people were heartbroken and I felt awful about that. So I ended up giving her the bow that was given to me in line because it was a 10K bow and we did the 5K. So at least she got a little merch, but I know that was the big controversy of the weekend.
This is why Heather thinks you should have to have a bib to shop.
I wholeheartedly agree. For sure.
You should get first dibs.
Yes. Yep. Let the resellers come in after.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. From there, we went and picked up our bibs and then our shirts. And I know Heather had posted, it was a long walk, like out and around. And we went on the journey, got all of our stuff. And at like 1:10, we were done at the expo. So pretty efficient. From there, we decided to take the bus to the Swan Dolphin and Swan Reserve because we had our mini golf reservation coming up and the bus left at like 1:25. We got to the Swan Reserve at 1:47. So it dropped off, I think, the Swan first, then the Dolphin, and then the Swan Reserve. And we went upstairs and got a couple quick sandwiches, just like an Uncrustable at Grounds, the little coffee shop there. And it was really nice in there. It was cool to kind of get to check that out too. And we walked down and back across the street to Fantasia Gardens for our 2:00 mini golf. And we had never been over there. It was definitely one of those things. Like you always get the tickets when you book. They send you the luggage tags and things. And it's just never something we've done. But we're like, let's try it. And it was nice. They had little snacks over there. They had a little merch area. They had bathrooms and lockers that were free. So like that was really nice. So we put our stuff in a locker and got all set up. And we played, there's 2 courses there. So there's one that's like a real golf course, like sand traps and stuff. And then there's the Fantasia one. So we did the fun one. And 18 holes, we start to get out on the course and they're like, all right. And if you lose your ball for any reason, like just come on back. And I was like, mini golf, like lose your ball. And on hole 3, I lost my ball.
Where did it go? Did you hit it out of the bounds of the hole?
I think I ended up in the water. It definitely was out of bounds for sure. Yeah. So went back and got a new one. And I was like, oh, okay. That's why they tell people that this has happened to many.
Yes. The good news is you're probably not alone.
Yeah. That was reassuring. But also like karma for being like, who loses their ball in mini golf? Me. It was me. Around 2:41, we finished the 18 holes, and it was a par 53 on the course. Robert got 58, and I was the winner at 57. But that was generous. There were a few times we kind of gave each other a redo because he also ended up in the grass, and, it's not as easy as it looks.
Just keeping track.
Exactly. When we finished up, we kind of were sitting tallying our scores, and the cast member who was working there was like, you guys are already done? And we're like, it's just mini golf. Yeah. Like it was also hot. So like we weren't lingering. Like we played the hole and moved on. And we were one of like 2 groups there. It was very quiet. So it wasn't like you were waiting for anyone to finish up either. From there, we called a lift and went back to Pop and got there around 3:00. And then we had what I like to call girl lunch. We had our Caesar salads with chicken strips on top and some French fries and just kind of chilled a little bit, went back to the room after that, and then decided it was time for another pool nap. And I wrote in my notes, snoring included. There was definitely snoring this day from my allergies stuffing me up. I like woke myself up at one point and I was like, I'm so sorry, everyone. I apologize.
I'm impressed with your ability to so easily nap, though.
I'm not normally a napper. I have sleep problems at home, not at Disney, which is probably another reason why I love it so much, because I can sleep really well there.
Well, wears you out. Busy days.
Yeah, for sure. After that, we hung at the pool until about 6:50. And then we went back to the room to freshen up. We had 2 different reservations for dinner this night, the Steakhouse 71 or the Wailulu. And I was not thrilled with the timing of Wailulu, but was never able to modify it. So we just said, whatever, we're just going to stick with it and just be tired. And that's what a Disney trip's all about, right? So we changed and took a lift at 7:22 to the Poly. And we got dropped off at 7:41 and checked in at Wailulu. Our reservation wasn't until like 8:20, I don't think, but we went over when we got there and we're like, we really like to sit outside. We know it might take a little longer, but we just wanted to like give you a heads up on our preference. And they thought they should be able to accommodate. So we wandered around and we had brought our resort mug with us because we had purchased one. And so we were able to try, there's an exclusive Sprite flavor at the Island Tower, the Island Time Fizz, and it was great. So that was fun. I had forgotten about it till we wandered over, and then I was like, that's right. The like special button was shining in the corner. So that was fun.
I don't think most people think to bring their refillable mugs to other resorts.
Yeah,
you totally can.
Yeah, we hadn't at the beginning of the week, and then a few times we're like, now we're at this resort and we're thirsty. So we had started by that point. We walked around and enjoyed the atmosphere of the new Island Tower area and watched a mama duck and her baby ducks floating around. And that was so adorable. And then at 8:13, our table was ready. So that was great. From there, we got to see the electrical water pageant. I was thrilled for my second time of the trip. And you could hear the Epcot fireworks from there too, which was really interesting. So that was kind of cool.
You might have been one of the only people staying at Pop Century to see the electric water pageant during your trip. And you got to see it twice.
Yes. Yep. We got the garlic shrimp and noodles, the sticky ribs, and the poke bowl, and some Dole Whip for dessert, and got to watch Happily Ever After from there too. So accomplishing that goal of like seeing Happily Ever After as many times as possible during our trip as well. Everything was really good, and we would definitely eat there again. So that was nice to try something new.
It sounds like you have maybe seen fireworks from outside of Magic Kingdom in multiple places. So how did you feel about watching from Wailulu?
It was nice. I almost felt that it had a better view than the Poly Beach, which is where we've watched it from before. And I am a beach girl, but when I'm like in my bathing suit. So when you're at the Poly Beach and you're sitting in the sand, it's not as lovely as being in the restaurant in a nice comfy chair. So
I think it's becoming a new favorite for people.
For sure. It was definitely a good hack there. From there, we decided to head out around 9:56. Dinner was over. We were heading back. And it was interesting because we were using Lyft and only minivans can pick up from the tower. We didn't know that. So we had to walk over to the main lobby, which was not a big deal at all, but it was just a fun fact. I was like, oh, okay.
Here at security, I don't think the regular Ubers can get through the security gate.
Yeah. We were able to on the way in, but our driver definitely had to like call on the button and kind of tell them what was going on. So I get it. I understand that exclusivity is nice. And then we were back to Pop at 10:23. And as I said, I had gotten that bow for the 10K. I wanted to give it to my friend. So I went back up to the room and met back up with her to hand that off. So when I was finally back up in the room, it was like 10:36. Shower, lights out, alarm set, 2:30.
2:30 alarm because you were doing the 5K. So the next day was Friday, April 17th, 5K day.
5K day, yep. So alarm went off and we were up and at 'em and left the room at 3:17. We were shooting for like 3:15 to 3:30 to get to the buses. So we walked up and at 3:22 got on the shuttle and it pulled away a minute later. Wasn't a ton of people on it at first, but there were 3 or 4 more buses waiting behind it. So that was nice that they kind of were like, yep, we'll take the next group, move on. We did more pickups at Art of Animation. And when we got there, we were the 3rd bus in line. So we waited there a little bit more for kind of more people to join. And then we were on our way to Epcot and got there around 3:48. From there, we kind of moseyed on over, went through security and used the restrooms. And we were in our corral at 4:33. And we were in the E corral with one other corral behind us. And Robert, having never done this, was kind of like, you lead the way, like, you know what to do. You've done this before. And he goes, but all of a sudden, like, your body language changed and you kind of just kept like moving and moving and moving. And I was like, I know there's no balloon ladies in this race, but I'm used to doing the 10K and you got to get to the front of your corral as much as possible. So I was kind of just like edging our way up there. And he's like, I just followed you. I didn't know what was happening, but you were on a mission.
Everyone lives in fear of the balloon ladies, even when they're not there.
Yes. And they're such lovely people, but I'm like, I don't want to know about them at all.
And you were dressed as Zootopia characters, correct?
Yep. So Robert had a shirt with the sloth on it, and we ended up watching Zootopia on the flight down. So I ended up knowing something about it when we were there. So he had Flash, and then I had Nick and Judy on my shirt. So, and I had some Zootopia ears too. We were at the start line at 5:47, and when it was our time to go, I could not run because I needed the ladies' room. I was like, oh my gosh. I was so worried about getting to the front of the corral that I had ignored other, necessities. And so we walked very briskly the first mile until we got into Epcot, at which point we sprinted to the bathrooms and then we were good to go. So it was more like a 2-mile race for us, a 1-mile walk and a 2-mile race because I had neglected that. But It went really smoothly. It was so much fun. It was a great atmosphere. The weather was nice. We had actually even been a little chilly in the corral.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
that's not typical when I've done Springtime Surprise before. It's been really humid. So I was like, oh, this is kind of a nice change. At 6:49, we crossed the finish line and got our medals, and we're really proud because Robert is not a runner, so that was great, and he felt really accomplished because he had we had done some running and walking throughout the race, so he felt good about that, and I was really proud of him, and it was nice because it was only 3 miles, so once it was done, I was like, oh, all right, I still feel good, where the 10K, I've not felt that good at the end. From there, we hopped in line for the buses at 7:00, and we were off at 7:07. Again, it was like a combo bus, but Pop got dropped off first. So that was nice. And then the Pop cast members did such a beautiful job of welcoming all the runners back. And this was throughout the weekend. They were there. They had music playing. They had pom-poms. They were cheering. They were clapping. And they had tables full of I'm celebrating buttons that were already filled out with 5K or 3.1 miles and more fruit and more waters. And it was just a really nice reception back for coming back to the resort. We went back up to the room and decided to shower off and take a nap. And at 10:20, we woke up from our naps and called for late checkout for the following day, just trying to start thinking about the end was coming. And we had booked lightning lanes. We had a Crystal Palace reservation. We ended up canceling that. We said sleep and rest over the reservation. So that had been canceled, but we did keep our lightning lanes. And we had noticed that our 9:00 lightning lane at this point for Space Mountain had converted to an anytime pass. So clearly, while we were sleeping, there had been some issues with that. So that was kind of nice. We rebooked something for later.
Can I ask you about when you called for late checkout? Did they grant it?
They did. We didn't ask for a specific time, but they had said 12:30 for the next day. So that was nice. And I know someone recently had called and said you needed to get a call back or anything, but they were able to right away on the phone confirm for us. So that was good.
I've had multiple experiences with that. That's why I asked, because sometimes they say no. One time they said if you stay an hour, it's X amount of dollars. If you stay 2 hours late, it's X amount of dollars. They gave me a prorated list, and there's just no consistency to it. So I'm glad that they were just told you 12:30 was going to be fine.
Yeah. Wow. I've never heard of that. Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
We lucked out then. So at 11:30, we left the room to head to Magic Kingdom and got on the bus at 11:36. We were walking up and could see the bus, and the bus was loading, and it was kind of that vibe, it was about to pull away. And there was one family, and they had a stroller, and they were struggling with the stroller, and they couldn't get it broken down. So we're speed walking up, and Robert looks at me and he goes, I'm not normally like this, but I could kiss that slow lady, because the lady was struggling, and because of her, we got on the bus. So thank you for your struggles with the stroller, whoever you are.
Mm-hmm.
We appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
We were through security at 11:57 and went and got our locker rental at Magic Kingdom.
That's an indicator that you're going to stay for a long time, I assume.
Yes. Yep. We were planning to close out the park. We had our nap and we were ready to go. We were refreshed.
Mm-hmm.
We did a little bit of shopping and Starbucks. And even at this point, it was noontime. The Main Street vehicles were still out. And I thought that was really interesting because I know that's usually a lower crowd indicator or more of an early morning thing. So I was like, okay, that's good to see.
Mm-hmm.
We mobile ordered Cosmic Rays for lunch, went over there, and then had some salad and enjoyed that. And then we decided to go over to Buzz Lightyear. We had a 10:05 to 11:05 lightning lane, but we know the 2-hour rule. So we were pushing it, but not terribly. At 1:11, we tapped in and it was posted 30 minutes. And there was some wild behavior in the line. So that was fun. I wrote down, they said the child's name and you have to keep your pants on. And I also appreciated them keeping their pants on. I was like, what is happening?
You know what? The making dads stricter is making lines harder
Yeah. Yep.
because sometimes people just cannot wait in lines and they need the dad system.
Yes. Yes. So I was like, oh gosh, I hope they enjoyed their ride and were fully clothed. But we got to the end of the ride at like 1:30 and our cart did not open. So that was very interesting because like this just went through a whole refurb, right? And there were carts that were already down with the cloth covers on them. And then we're in one that doesn't open. And a cast member came over and said, well, do you want to ride again? And I was like, not really. I kind of would like to get off. So they had to like put the work lights on and come let us out of our cart. But we were like at the end where you would unload anyway. So that was interesting that they were having some tech glitches on that. From there, we walked over to Space Mountain. We had a lightning lane for 1:10 to 2:10, and we tapped in at 1:41 with a posted 45-minute wait, but we were on and off by 1:53. So again, walk on, just that long walk. From there, we went over to Monsters, Inc. and we posted 10 minutes. So like the show in front of us had just started, but we were in and out by 2:39 and then decided to go get some snacks with those ESPN coupons that our friends had kindly given us. From there, we had noticed that we had rebooked like a jungle cruise, or we wanted to use our anytime experience from that Space Mountain earlier for Jungle Cruise. But when we had tapped into Buzz Lightyear, it had taken our anytime experience instead of our Buzz Lightning Lane. So we went over and saw a cast member at the Blue Umbrella, and we think maybe we had pushed the 2-hour window like a little too much, and that's why it took that one instead of Buzz. But he was able to fix it, and instead of reopening the anytime pass, like just made us a reservation for Jungle Cruise, which was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
From there, we headed over towards our Beacon Barrel reservation, which was at 3:30. And we checked in at 3:17 and waited about 20 minutes to get in. And we were seated at a booth, which was great because at that time I was thinking all the guests you've had that have had to stand. And I was like, my feet are tired. I can't stand. And I hadn't thought that through when I made this reservation. But we were at a booth with 2 other parties. So it was nice to be in like a cool sit down area.
Mm-hmm.
And we were in the room where the ships fight over the mantle, but we couldn't quite see it from where we were. From there, we enjoyed a beverage. And then at 4:16, we were all set. We only did 1. We didn't want to do 2. So we didn't need our whole 45 minutes. And we headed out around then. And at 4:30, we went to use our final snack coupons from our friends for some bottled beverages and the messiest churro of my life. It was hot that day, especially it had definitely gotten warmer as the week went on. And then I had the hot chocolate dip and it was everywhere and it was delicious. From there, we decided to mosey to Country Bear Jamboree. And then we went to use our Little Mermaid Lightning Lane, which had been booked for 11:05 to 12:05. And this was significantly later, but we were still able to get in. We boarded at 5:10. So really pushed that one like a lot without issue.
But like it turned green because you're saying push it, but as long as it turns green, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Because I know there's like that 2-hour flex window, but if they say no, they say no. And that's okay. Like we understand we're pushing the limit on that. From there, we decided to take the train up to the front of the park, but we had just stopped to get a slushie, like a pina colada slushie over by Mermaid. And the cast member said, oh, you have to finish up your drink before you get on the train. So we're like, okay, we'll just like wait for the next one. Like no big deal. We didn't want to throw it away. And another cast member saw us waiting and said, are you just waiting to finish your drink to ride? And we said, yeah. And he goes, I'm not going to make you wait another 20 minutes. Just come on. So we're very appreciative of that. We were fine waiting, but we appreciated not having to as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the next good chunk of time, I wrote down popcorn, shopping, vibing, because we got some popcorn and shopped in the Emporium. And then we sat on the Town Square Theater porch in the rocking chairs and vibed and just
Mm-hmm.
people watched and enjoyed the sunshine and really just relaxed and really soaked up just all that atmosphere there.
Yeah, I think that's good. Like, I think there's so much focus on rides, understandably, but then, like, if you can have free time, it's kind of nice too, just to sit. A lot of people sit in the hub grass. You sat on the porch.
Yes. Yeah, it was so nice. And then we were right there for our reservation at Tony's Town Square. So at 7:14, we checked in. And same kind of thing we had done at Wailulu. We said we'd like to sit outside if possible. We know we might have to wait a little extra and like we're okay with that. And the cast members indicated that actually at this time of day, most people were requesting to sit inside. So outside
Mhm.
was not going to be a problem, which was great. We were seated at 7:25 on the railing side of the porch, which was great. And right from the get-go, we told our waitress, we are not in a rush. We want to see starlight from here. Like, you don't have to worry about us. We'll take it easy. So that's what we did. And we got the giant mozzarella sticks and pasta and just really enjoyed and did the gym and watched starlight go through. Which was really nice to actually kind of like be like a little elevated to be able to see more too. And it seemed like there had been more like street performers in front of the floats on this night than the night we had seen it before. And we could really see them this time too.
Good. I'm sort of happy to hear that lots of people weren't requesting to sit outside.
Yeah. They don't know the secret.
Yeah, if enough people start doing it, they're going to start charging. They're going to be like, "Hey, parade viewing package."
Yep, for sure. From there, we went and took some medal pictures on Main Street. And then it was getting to be about happily ever after time. So we were one of the last pictures they took. And then the PhotoPass photographers kind of got pulled from Main Street. So we stood on Main Street to watch, which is a vantage point we also have never had. We always are up more in the hub. So it was cool to see all the projections on the stores. That was really cool. And then from there, we went after Happily Ever After to the confectionery to get all of the Mickey Rice Krispie treats.
All of them.
All of them. When we went up to order, we were like, okay, we'll have 2 of these and 2 of those and 2. And the cast member was like, oh, to take home to the kids. And we were like, no, there are no kids. These are just to take home for ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it's one of those ones that travels well because they have them kind of packaged nicely. So we like to get those and take them home and enjoy them after the trip too. So from there, we went on the People Mover. It was about 10 o'clock. It was posted 10-minute wait. And we were on at 10:15. And it was cool because Space Mountain had the lights all the way on. So that was fun to see as we passed through there. And then at 10:39, we made the slow walk to unpack our lockers and call it a night. We headed to the bus around 10:45, did some more pin trading with a transportation cast member who was like kind of waiting in the bus stop area. And we were on the bus at 10:54, back to Pop at 11:15-ish.
All right, 11:15-ish after having a 2:30 alarm.
Yes.
But with a nap, but still, long day. Okay, so next day was Saturday, April 18th, and it was your departure day.
Yes, unfortunately. And when we were at 11:15 after a 2:30 wake up call, we hadn't thought much about the fact that we had gone on Open Table and gotten an 8:15 cake bake reservation for Saturday morning because originally it had been Topolino's and we had moved that earlier in the week. So that was going to be the plan. And it was the plan, but there was a wild wake up that morning when at 7:41, I jolted awake and said, oh, we have an 8:15 reservation. Okay, let's do this. And in quick change fashion, we were out the door at 8:02.
Very quick. How did you get there?
We took a lift. at
Mhm.
and 8:12 it picked us up, and we did call the restaurant ahead of time and say, "Hey, we're on our way. We are running late. We're so sorry." And they said, "Not a problem." They let the hostess know, so that was good. And we checked in at 8:21. So we really weren't even like that late, which was impressive.
Considering you had just woken up.
Yeah, I was literally groggy, like still waking up in the lift there, and my contact fell out. And I was like, this is just not the best start of the day. But Cake Bake was delicious. It was a really nice breakfast. We had the blueberry coffee cake, and Robert had the quiche, which was huge, and everything was really tasty. And it was so cute in there. And it was just a really nice experience for our last day.
Mhm.
Around 9:35, we were done there and walked the boardwalk and did some shopping at the boardwalk. And we went in their shop and noticed this detail for the first time. I don't know if anyone else has noticed it, but they kind of have like different spools of thread up on a shelf in the shop, and they were the characters. So there would be one that was like orange and black and green, like Pluto. And there was one that looked like Olaf. It was like white and orange and black. And it was so cool to be like, oh, that one's this. And that was just another, Disney magic touch that you're like, they think of everything.
Mhm. Mhm.
So that was a fun little game to kind of play while we were browsing in the shop. Then from there, we decided to take the boat over to Epcot's International Gateway. So at this point, Robert exclaimed that we had completed all forms of transportation during this trip, and he was very pleased about that.
Check it off.
Yep. So 9:54, we got off and went right to the Skyliner, and we were back at Pop around 10:30 to pack. We left behind some of our snacks for other people and posted that in one of the Facebook groups they have for Pop. And I ended up leaving my book too, because I had finished my book and had earlier talked to a cast member, was like, do you guys have a little free library or anything? And because at Vero Beach Resort, they do for Disney, but they didn't here. So I told the cast member, I'm like, go tell your boss and take credit for it. So maybe one day they'll have it, but hopefully someone picked it up and enjoyed it. From there, we were done around 12, so we dropped our bags with Bell Services and decided to go over to Art of Animation for lunch. And while we were there in the dining area, you may have seen on Instagram, it's not widely spreading, but a water pipe burst in the ceiling as we were there. And
In the Lion King section.
Yes. At first, we didn't think anything of it. We kind of just thought oh, there must be some kind of water feature. And then we saw the water feature, which was steaming hot water pouring from the ceiling.
Steaming hot.
Yes. And we were like, oh. But the cast members, beautifully choreographed, just kind of got people out of there and kind of cordoned that section off. And later, a few minutes later, we're walking around with a tray of cupcakes, I think, as a consolation prize to someone who might have been sitting over there. But yeah, we were like, oh, okay. That was something.
That is nuts.
Yeah. And the ceiling tile fell down. We were like, oh, okay. But luckily it didn't seem that anyone got hurt. So that was very, very fortunate.
Mm-hmm.
From there, we finished our lunch and kind of shopped a little bit more. We had bought a keychain earlier in the trip that had broken, and they were able to exchange it for us, which was really nice. And then went back to the Skyliner and traded with that same cast member one more time for the last pin we needed from this new set that we weren't even collecting at the start of the trip, but now suddenly had to have, which was great. We picked up our bags from Bell Services at 1:40 and called our Lyft to the airport, and were dropped off there at 12:15. Got our bags with the airline right away, and then wandered around because we were early and the lines were not long at all for TSA. So, you have to go to the Disney store one more time, or in this case, two more times because there's two. Just in case there's anything you missed in all the other shopping we did.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you got to get one more Rice Krispie treat for the plane. So we did all of that and picked up a couple things for our cat sitter, who is a Disney fan too. And then at 2:51, we went through pre-check, got to the gate, and kind of just hung out for a while. They boarded the plane early, which never happens ever, I don't think, and pushed off early and landed at home early. Everything was smooth sailing, which was awesome. I have not had a flight in the last 5 years that has not been delayed or anything like that. So to have 2 flights, it really was perfect. And we got home at 7:30. We called for the car. It was there when we got back to the lot, and that was that. We were home and ordering pizza and starting to decompress and let the sadness sink in.
Eating Rice Krispie treats and maybe Gideon's if you had any left over.
Yes, that definitely happened that night too.
All right. So, overall thoughts on traveling this time of year?
It was great. Even with the runDisney race, we never felt the parks were like crazy crowded. We never felt we waited a long time for anything. The weather was absolutely perfect. 70s, 80s, no humidity, which Florida can be so oppressive with. It was just awesome. It was perfect.
What about staying at Pop Century?
We love Pop. And I think for the first time, we really got to spend more time at the resort and like reaffirm that love for the price tag, the convenience of the Skyliner, and like it's just a cute, fun place that has a lot always happening that we didn't know about because we're always in the park. So that was kind of fun to see too.
And would you do one or both of the after hours events again?
For sure. We definitely felt Magic Kingdom was maybe a little more worth it than Epcot, but we definitely would do both again. They were so worth it if you're ride focused. So that was a plus.
And do you have another trip in mind?
So I feel like there's always a trip kind of brewing, but nothing's officially on the books for Disney World at this time. The only thing we officially have is a cruise on the Destiny August of 2027. So we are paying towards that to enjoy that 7-night out of Fort Lauderdale.
Okay. Well, let's talk about that in the after chat. I have a list of things to ask you about over there. So it sounds like your trip went really well overall, and I appreciate you taking the time to share it.
Yes, thank you again for having us. It was great.
I hope you enjoyed that trip report. We did keep talking on Patreon because I wanted to ask her, what did that bus driver say to you that you didn't want to mention? And so we did talk about that. That is up on Patreon right now in audio and video form. I think that'll wrap up this episode of WDW Prep to Go. For more information, please check the show notes in your podcast app or head to the website, wdwprepschool.com. Click on podcast at the top, scroll down to episode 512. Until next time, I'll see you on the site.